Hi, this is Zach, and welcome to the Zsac Show, episode 15, where we will talk about self development sprinkled with a little bit of travel. Today's title is If There Would Be a Truth, Would We Be Able to Comprehend It or Understand It? And the reason I bring this up because our mind works differently when it comes to interpreting information. One of the things it needs to do in order to interpret information is create a story or a metaphor. Now, a metaphor is something that, how does this work like something I already understand? How is the solar system like an orange? To borrow an example from Tony Robbins, I do the Hungarian translation for Tony Robbins at his events. Or when it comes to story, I would like to borrow a quote from Aaron Sorkin. Conflict is defined by an intention and an obstacle. So, for instance, if there would be a series, let's say one of the movies Sorkin wrote, A Few Good Men or The Social Network, in a scene there is an intention. I want to go somewhere, like for instance right now I'm in the Dominican Republic, so one of my intention in my story could be that I want to get to the Dominican Republic, but there's an obstacle, there's a pandemic, and I have no idea how I'm going to be able to get here. So in this case, what I would need to do is find a way around that obstacle, show how I was able to overcome that. But in life, oftentimes information is bombarding us and it's available on a much larger scale. So, for instance, I believe it was Honda and Ford that has this idea going early on, is that when they made their cars, Honda knew that their cars were more reliable. Yet, they broke down when they looked at a longer period than Ford cars did. And the reason for that wasn't because of the quality of the cars, but because since a car has more than 1,000 moving parts, which need to be ideally serviced at 1,000 different times, Honda's maintenance schedule was very difficult to understand. An average person just wants to get in their car and drive their kids to school, get to work, and buy some groceries. They don't want to know and understand and keep track of more than 1,000 moving parts. And at Ford, their idea was really simple. Come in at every 5,000, I believe it was, 5,000 miles, and we'll do this, and then another 5,000, we'll do that. And although it wasn't ideal, because the customer was able to understand that more easily, they adhered to that easier schedule, and thus the car lasted a longer time, even though it was inferior quality. Of course, after a while, Honda understood that, and they also changed their maintenance levels and schedules to similarly simple like Ford, and their cars became even better. One of the ways they reasoned against that, against this simplified maintenance schedule, is that it would be lying. Because in between those, let's say, 5,000 miles, there were things that could break. There were ways that this was not ideal. So they felt it is a lie to the customer. And this was true. Things could go wrong within that 5,000 miles. Yet, they told the customer in order to give him or her this peace of mind that the car is going to be reliable, and then they offered a guarantee that if in this time the car does break, we will fix it for you. So they did lie on one side. It wasn't perfect, it wasn't ideal, but it wasn't reasonable for the customer to not be able to drive their car carefree. So what is this limit? And Aaron Sorkin calls this artistic freedom to bend the truth in order to reach a desired emotional effect. For instance, in The Social Network, in one of his video training classes on how to write, he had the example that he wanted to change the drink Mark Zuckerberg drank from beer to a screwdriver, a drink with orange juice and vodka, because he felt that it's more enticing to watch this drink being made than to somebody opening a bottle of beer. I would have went with his agreement or his idea or his argument, but the movie producer said no, and the director said no, so they went with the original idea of beer, and it was correct, it was Beck's. But our mind has to understand how it is different, how things are. For instance, in the movie Saving Private Ryan, many veterans reported that it was the movie that made them shell-shocked again, made them relive all those moments of war all over again. And the question begged, why? Is it the most accurate depiction of the invasion of Normandy? No, that movie is not the most accurate depiction. Yet it is the most accurate depiction, or it was at the time, of how it felt to be in the invasion of Normandy. And this is an internal question. How much are we willing to deviate from factual correctness in order to bring our emotional message across? I would like to offer a way on how we can use this mechanism in our lives to improve our everydays. Let's say, for instance, you feel an overwhelm, but no matter what you do, no matter how much you want to accomplish, you don't get enough done. There's always something more on your to-do list. This could be put in a metaphor with a movie series. Let's say where there's several scripts going on. I would do, and let me get my handy notebook out. I'm a big fan of notebooks and mind mappings. I would draw a notebook and I would draw a mind map, each mind map representing some kind of intention and some kind of obstacle. Now, in order for our mind to understand progress, we need our mind to see that there is a step towards the goal, that the intention is somehow being realized, that the obstacle is somehow being tackled. Now, this is where the most important or more interesting part comes in, is that we don't actually need to succeed in conquering that obstacle in order for our mind to feel progress. We just need to try. We just need to attempt. We just need to try conquering that obstacle in order for our mind to feel progress. And this could be a key to the overwhelm. This could be a key to even anxiety or sometimes even depression, that I feel I'm not enough. I'm not getting enough things done. No matter how much I do, there is still more left to do. And this can create a whole spiral of negative emotions and negative effects. In order to stop this, we need clear intention and a clear obstacle, ideally at the start of the day, because you can have a sick family member you need to take care of while there's a pandemic that hits your business, and there are some friends that have worked with you for 5, 10, or even 20 years, and you need to look in their eyes and tell them, listen, we're going to let you go because I wasn't able to create enough business capital to give you pay. And this can give you pain, and all this pain can bleed out to your relationships and with your partner, and that can hurt it. And you see all these different lines, and it's like, where do I start? Where do I go? And my advice, if you don't know where to start, it doesn't really matter. Just pick one, because in that case, where you start is not as important as to start somewhere. So write down all the things that are a mess in your life right now, or if that's a lot, write down the 3 to 5 things in a similar fashion, like this. One topic around it says big things to do, and all these bigger ideas around it, and just pick one. Pick one obstacle that you feel you can conquer. It can be even something little, writing an email, making a phone call, ticking something off, because when you write that email, when you write that phone call, you can scribble it off your note, it gives you the feeling of progress. It gives you that feeling of being able to move to the next step. And that's how you can use your mind's interpretation of information, that it needs a story, it needs a metaphor to bring more happiness, progress, and joy in your life. Thank you for your participation today. This was the Zsac Show, episode 15. Soon we will be back, and if you have any comments, if you have any questions, leave it down in the comments. And my question to you, what is the things you do in order to get out of overwhelm? See you next time.